In a resounding calm and serene atmosphere, Kuwait commemorates the 63rd anniversary of its independence. In light of the developmental leaps and achievements the country is witnessing under the renewal era of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al al-Ahmed al-Jabr al-Sabah. This Remembrance Day is of a pivotal turning point that is renewed in the beating heart of Kuwait annually, especially as the nation is a major player regionally and internationally, with clear distinctive imprints throughout the decades. The state of Kuwait welcomed its independence on June the 19th of 1961 during the reign of Sheikh Abdullah Salim al-Sabah, with the first celebrations held on June 19, 1962. Proud Kuwaitis continued to celebrate the Day of Independence on June 19th of each year until 1964, when an Emiri decree was issued on May 18, 1964, merging the day with the anniversary of the late Emir Abdullah Salim al-Sabah's ascension to the reins of power on February the 25th of each year, beginning in 1965. Since then, Kuwait celebrates its independence on this date, naming it its National Day.
Kuwait before 1961 was a very simple country. We don't have a structure for the government or like a clear structure for everything in the state. We can say that the ruler ruled by his personal, he ordered the system of the state and he avoided the judgment in the state, and he is the main factor in the state of the Kuwait.
On one fateful Monday, corresponding to the 19th of June 1961, the late Emir, Sheikh Abdullah Salim al-Sabah, treaded on the path of a prosperous nation by terminating the British Protectorate Treaty, the signing of the country's independence document along with the British High Commissioner in the Arabian Gulf, Sir George Middleton, on behalf of the British government.
So in just looking for the historical background, we found that Kuwait was a very small community at that time, and we know the area is really fully of enemies and many challenges there around, and this might affect anywhere for Kuwait in any time. So Kuwait was aware of its neighbors and the area behind it, so it's sometimes trying to protect itself as much as she can. And this is what led His Highness the Emir Sheikh Mubarak al-Sabah in 1899 that he make an agreement with the British, because he was afraid that might something bad happen to Kuwait if there is no kind of strong country that can giving the protection, fully protection of Kuwait. And this is one of the issues that lead to the contract that has been agreement between Kuwait and British in 1899.
With Kuwaiti people cherishing a strong bond with their rulers, Sheikh Abdullah Salim delivered a speech after signing the document of independence, leaving luminescent historical moments in the memoirs of every Kuwaiti towards building a brighter tomorrow with fulfilled ambitions. Sheikh Abdullah Salim softly said, "My dear people, my brothers and children, on this most dear day of our beloved country, on this day in which we move from one stage to another in the stages of history, and with the dawn of the morning, we turn a new page from the past, with all that it bears and what it entailed, to open a new page that is represented in this agreement, by which Kuwait gained its complete independence and full sovereignty." Thus, Kuwait achieved its independence with many young hearts full of life and ambition to develop their nation with their hopes and aspirations. Just as the Protection Agreement signed by Sheikh Mubarak al-Sabah, the seventh ruler of Kuwait, with Britain in 1899 was a crucial decision made by the wise rulers to protect Kuwait and its interests. The independence document represented a decisive turning point in the contemporary history of Kuwait. The signing of the independence document was preceded by deliberate steps by Sheikh Abdullah Salim al-Sabah since he assumed the reins of power in 1950, as he worked to achieve independence and declare the constitution, especially since the country was at that time ready for development and renaissance in various fields.
Actually, Kuwait and the UK has a very strong relationship. This is the main reason for that, because protectorate agreement between Kuwait and UK, as we know, was in 1899 for a long time, nearly 120 years. And during this period, we can say that the relation was very strong. We didn't see any conflicts between UK and Kuwait. So all these factors serve as important to strengthen the relationship between Kuwait and UK since 1899 and after the promulgation of the Constitution of Kuwait.
With 4 vibrant colors, the Kuwaiti flag was born with the issuance of an Emiri decree following independence describing its shapes and colors. Echoing across all platforms, the independence of Kuwait has resonated across the region with a profound impact, especially in the Arab and Islamic world, with many warm statements and cables supporting and blessing this great milestone for Kuwait and its people. The Independence Declaration would serve as an energetic boost in Kuwait's development, as an Emiri decree was issued on August 19, 1961, to establish the Ministry of Foreign Affairs by issuing a Department of Foreign Affairs exclusively concerned with carrying out the state's foreign affairs. The decree instructed in its second article to merge the government secretariat with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, transforming it into the first ministerial formation. In the years 1962 and 1963, the late Sheikh Sabah al-Salim and late Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmed al-Sabah were appointed the foreign ministers at the time respectively, beginning a journey of Kuwait's friendly and stern diplomatic affairs, led by the desire to draw up a permanent constitution for Kuwait as a proud, sovereign and free nation that is for and from its own. Sheikh Abdullah al-Salim decided to establish a democratic system in which the people would participate in the governance of the state.
In 1961, we know this is the year that Kuwait has been independent country, and it has its constitution during His Highness, previous Highness the Emir, the Sheikh Abdullah Salim, and that's happened in the June 13, 1961, which is the Kuwaiti, Emir at that time find that Kuwait doesn't need more to be with this agreement because everything has been settled down. Kuwait want to build itself as independent country without that agreement. So we find the place or the time is very suitable to be, finish this agreement in 1961, and also it has been accepted by the British Council and British, leader at that time to finalize this agreement in 1961. Since that, Kuwait become an independent country, a new country that has been building to its future to be more progressed than many times after 1961. So this is a kind of, separate during the history of Kuwait, and that's the beginning of Kuwait really was established in 1961 after its independence in June at that time.
On August the 26th, an Emiri Decree number 22 of 1961 was issued to conduct elections for the Constituent Assembly, to establish a system based on clear and solid democratic foundations and principles. Elections were then held on December the 30th for Kuwaitis to choose their representatives as members of the Constitutional Assembly in charge of drafting the Constitution. During these elections, Kuwait was divided into 10 electoral districts, with each district electing 2 representatives for the total sum of 20 assembly members in addition to state ministers. The elections resulted in the selection of 19 new members, in addition to 1 member of the Second Legislative Council from the year 1938. 3 elected members combined between the council membership and holding a ministerial position, which were Hamoud al-Khalid, Abdulaziz al-Sagr, and Mohammed al-Nisif, inaugurated the first session of the council. January 20th of 1962 witnessed the inauguration of the first session of the council by Sheikh Abdullah Salim al-Sabah, and saw the nomination of Abdul Latif al-Ghanim as chairman and Dr. Ahmed Mohammed al-Khatib as the vice chairman. A 5-member constitution-making committee was then formed with the late Sheikh Saad al-Abdullah Salim al-Sabah as the chairman. To ensure that the constitution is derived from and for the people of Kuwait, Sheikh Abdullah Salim al-Sabah instructed members of the ruling family, who were also members of the Constituent Assembly and ministers, to refrain from voting on any article of the Constitution and to leave that to the elected members of the Council. Within only 9 months, the Constitution was drawn up in 5 chapters and consisted of 183 articles.
Working very hard, especially in the 1960s, to build Kuwait, and we find a big progress has been happened during 10 years from Kuwait, independent, and also it's built the constitution in Kuwait in 1962, which was a big sign, a big change in Kuwait, because this constitution really given was the relation between the Highness the Emir and the government and also the citizens. They given their right to vote and also to participate in taking decision making through the National Assembly, which is very unique thing that's happened in a Gulf area, an Arab area, to have the citizens have the participation, and we have National Assembly who's giving legislations and also controlling over government, which is a very unique things that happened in Kuwait and in the area all. Especially we are starting very hard and building the constitution within 1 year after independence. I think it's a very big sign to the change in Kuwait.
On November the 11th of 1962, the members of the Constituent Committee presented to His Highness the Emir at Sif Palace the approved draft constitution. The late Emir, Sheikh Abdullah Salim, rejoiced in his delivered speech on this occasion. Quote, "We praise God Almighty, who has allowed us in this historic stage of the life of our dear people to achieve our wish to establish a constitution for the country based on sound democratic foundations that conform to our traditions and respond to the hopes of our nation." End quote. Kuwait's constitution delineated an integrated society towards a future in which the state prospers and blooms within its local, regional, and international status, with citizens comfortably provided with further political freedom, equality, and social justice. Within 3 days after receiving the drafted constitution, Sheikh Abdullah Salim ratified it, making the birth of the Kuwaiti constitution on November the 11th, 1962. The late Emir had inscribed on the overview of the constitution upon ratifying it the following:
"In the name of Allah the Merciful, we, Abdullah Salim al-Sabah, Emir of the State of Kuwait, desire to complete the causes of democratic rule for our dear homeland and faith in the role of this country in the ranks of Arab nationalism and the service of world peace and human civilization, and in pursuit of a better future in which the country enjoys more prosperity and international status and gives citizens more political freedom, equality, and social justice, a future which upholds the traditions inherent in the Arab nation by enhancing the dignity of the individual, safeguarding public interest, and applying consultative rule, yet maintaining the unity and stability of the country. And I, having considered Law Number 1 of 1962 concerning the system of government during the period of transition, and upon the resolution of the Constituent Assembly, do hereby approve this Constitution and promulgate it."
With these wise words published in the official gazette the following day, Kuwait now has one of the most sensible democratic constitutions that facilitates its growth. With many sunrises and sunsets upon Kuwait and its freshly issued constitution, the first comprehensive elections were excitedly held to elect members of the nation's first parliament. These elections officially marked the onset of pure political practice under the provisions of the new constitution, and also detailed and implemented the limits of the country's main legislative, executive, and judicial powers. As a sovereign state, the provisions of Kuwait's constitution consolidate the ancient foundations and constants that flow through its veins in terms of relying on the foundations of shura, democracy, and popular participation. Kuwaitis in heart honor social and societal contracts, which led to a number of historical demands and consultations that birthed the 1962 Constitution, based on a trusting relationship and agreement translated into a modern constitution that preserves the entity of the state. One of the Constitution's stipulations in regard to the number of ministers to not exceed 1/3 of the number of members of the National Assembly, which totals to 16 members. Enjoying a steady flow of milestones and endeavors, the Constituent Assembly continued until January the 20th of 1963, before it dissolved itself to hold the first parliamentary elections to choose the members of the first parliament.
Actually, the Constitution of Kuwait was an extraordinary constitution in the region, as it's protect a lot of human rights and also women rights in the Constitution. One of the main things that the Constituent Assembly of Kuwait, when they in their deliberation to constitute the Constitution of Kuwait, they stayed and they adopt the human rights from the International Declaration of Human Rights. So they nearly copied all the article of the International Declaration of Human Rights. So it is no surprise that the Constitution of Kuwait has many articles to protect human rights. We can say the freedom of speech, the freedom of movement, everyone is equal in the state, no difference between color or sex or nationality or anything. All people are equal in the state. Also, it's encouraging the freedom of press. So we can see it's many things to protect the human rights. Also, in the like we can say that the punishment is personal, so no one should be punished by the mistake of other one. Also, the state tried to help the we can say the family. Article 9 of the Constitution said that the Constitution should protect the family, and the country should provide a useful, like we can say, possibilities for the people to study and to complete their study. So the Constitution was full of encouraging the people and helping the people, and also protect the dignity of the people of the state of Kuwait.
The 15-year reign of Sheikh Abdullah Salim was one of the most prominent years in Kuwait's history, as the father of independence and the father of the Constitution, due to his spirited efforts, sacrifices, and wisdom to achieve and protect this independence. Kuwait activated in that era its ability to develop laws and regulations, such as the nationality law, the Kuwaiti currency law, the passport law, and the organization of government departments as eventual independent institutions. An Emiri decree was also issued to organize the judiciary field and allowing it comprehensive jurisdiction in disputes that take place in the country. Kuwait's declaration of independence was naturally followed by gaining membership to the Arab League on July 16, 1961. Fast forwarding to May of 1963, when the United Nations Security Council considered Kuwait's membership to the organization, as the country believed in the role of the United Nations in maintaining international peace and security.
I know, because Kuwait relation with its neighbors at that time before the liberation was fine, and we as always building good relations with different countries in the region and also in the world. But we are not independent. After the independence, and we try remain being a member of the Arab Council, and also with the different associations that Kuwait lead after the operation, the independence, which gives Kuwait the ability to start its political relation more by diplomatic and the things that can help Kuwait to build a relation with its neighbor. I remember that Kuwait, when it's independence, most of the countries around it, and also in the Arab and also in the world itself, international basis, they were really happy that Kuwait get its independence and now being as a country independent in the Gulf, and they know that Kuwait really built good relations and good reputation before the independence, and also the ways that Kuwait, the Sheikh Abdullah Salim, previous His Highness at that time, he's also has trying to visit some other countries and building new relation with Kuwait and trying to build, a kind of collaboration with all the countries around us and also in the Arab region. I think these procedures help Kuwait to get more involved with its neighbor, with the Arab as countries, because we are an Arab country, and also with the international community when it's going to be the emperor member, in the world nations, and also in different kind of association that Kuwait trying to know what's Kuwait is, because before that they don't know exact about us. But when they know Kuwait and its political, economical, abilities, and how can it's really build a good relation and commercial and either educational, medicals, because we need a lot of things to build the country, and this is will help us to build relations with different countries to keep on our progress in these sides, which need to rebuild Kuwait again as an independent country, and has its own needs for the citizens and also for everybody living in Kuwait.
With a steady and constant flow of abundance and prosperity following its independence, Kuwait advanced its status in the New World Order by blatantly rejecting aggression, protecting human rights, preserving the privacy of states, and not interfering in the affairs of other states. Kuwait held many international conferences supporting victims of conflict, along with participating in many conferences to ease regional and international crises. As evidence of its continuation of political institutions, Kuwait became a member of several international organizations, including the Maritime Consultation Organization, the World Health Organization, as well as becoming a member of the Universal Postal Union. The independence of Kuwait also increased its advocacy for education and knowledge, as well as economic empowerment and stability, as it joined the United Nations Educational, Scientific Research and Cultural Organizations, or UNESCO, as well as joining OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. Structurally, as the country adjusts to the new leaps in status and power, Kuwait was replete with many well-organized and prepared departments for further expansion and development, such as the Departments of Public Works, Public Health, and Education. The period after Kuwait's independence marks significant advancements. Commonly known as the Jewel of the Gulf, the nation strives to maintain its reputation through the implementation of the new Kuwait 2035 plan to boost its foreign investment capabilities and promote a comprehensive renaissance through its various projects.
The things that might help us to be more economical, especially if we're trying to keep on working with the just GCC countries, especially in the economic side. Now we're trying to give more attention to commercial things, especially with relation with different countries. We now interfere to be a part of some kinds of economical unions. Especially Kuwait now participate in these unions and trying to achieve more goals by giving attention. We know that His Highness the Emir, also Sheikh Mish'al Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, has gone to China, and he make a lot of agreements, and it started right now with the, as we see in Mubarak Al-Kabir, especially for building a new place for trying to achieve a lot of things in the Gulf. I think this will give Kuwait more opportunity by these agreements, and gonna help us more to be partners, especially with the countries like China, like the United States, England, France. I know Kuwait right now to make more agreements and more progress with the relation, especially in the economical side, to getting more developed in that area, and because we have the abilities and need experience. And also I think Kuwait now is really seeking a lot of progress in economical, and we trying to achieve a lot of goals during that. This is what His Highness the Emir focus on in the future. Also, he's looking also for the service of the community, the service of people, trying to achieve, develop, especially in the public administration, talking about government agencies and government ministries, and keep on working hard to achieve Kuwait progress as more as we can, because I think we are expecting a lot to be happen in this new era of His Highness the Emir Sheikh Masha'Allah Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, and he was really aware and trying to keep on working hard, and I think this is will help us, especially we have a new government right now, and we are giving more, kind of trying to see a lot of things has been happened and changes and solving these problems that might face the community and the area. We are really proud of what we are doing, and we are proud of the new era, and we are proud also to see more progress to Kuwait will be happening in the future. And this is expected by the strategic planning of Kuwait, which is trying to keep Kuwait as one of the commercial countries, biggest countries in the area. And this achievement, I think, it's going to be kind of giving Kuwait more reputation, especially economical and political side and the services. We are seeking a lot, and we are working hard, and I think the new era will be a big change in Kuwait that we're going to see in the future, inshallah.
Kuwait has achieved remarkable progress since the dawn of its independence in both foreign and domestic affairs. Alongside every aspiring nation for an abundant, secure future, Kuwait enjoys aligning its vision towards a comprehensive renaissance of New Kuwait 2035, meant to convert the country into a financial and commercial hub, both regionally and globally, and further empower the private sector to drive the nation's economic growth. The opening of Sheikh Jaber Al Ahmed Al Sabah Bridge has been considered a significant feat for the country during its implementation of Vision 2035, with the fourth longest sea bridge in the world. Kuwait's effort towards a comprehensive renaissance has also been reflected through the launch of the first of its kind in the Gulf region, the late Salwa Sheikh Al Sabah Al Ahmed Al Sabah Stem Cell Center in 2018. Kuwait has made significant strides in economic, social, and human development, while remaining committed to global partnering and international solidarity, including in environmental protection. The nation has developed a robust health system for all citizens, as evidenced by a significant reduction in infant, child, and maternal mortality rates. And when it comes to economic mastery, Kuwait entered the list of the 10 most improved countries in the Ease of Doing Business Index for 2020, according to the 17th annual report of the World Bank Group on Business Environment 2020. This indication is vindication for its business environment and efficient citizen servicing, which further contributes to achieving sustainable growth, economic diversification, and the development goals of the state of Kuwait in order to achieve Kuwait Vision 2035. Moreover, Kuwait is confident in its strides towards a bright future with the promising 2035 vision aimed at bolstering the country's financial status to include a variety of income resources other than oil revenues. The geographical location of the country aided in its economic growth and development of a national character, as it connects two important natural resources, the desert and the sea. Since then, Kuwait launched various projects within the Vision 2035 in coordination between the public and private sectors. With the opening of the Jabal Causeway project, which links Kuwait City with Subiya area in the north of the country, the development plan saw a boost, paving the way for the future Silk City project. Kuwait seeks to also put the private sector on the forefront of its efforts to reshape the economy, especially with the sector able to assimilate up to 100,000 Kuwaitis in its workforce within 5 years. Despite Kuwait's reliance on the oil sector for the majority of its revenues, it has always sought to diversify its economy as part of its 2035 vision. In implementation of such a move, Boursa Kuwait had completed the Kuwaiti capital markets inclusion into the MSCI Emerging Markets Indices with the successful implementation of the first tranche of index inclusion. The inclusion brought in huge inflows to the market, as the total traded value during the inclusion was over 961.6 million KD at the time, proving the Kuwaiti capital markets apparatus's success in absorbing unprecedented foreign inflows. Kuwait's inclusion in the MSCI Emerging Market Index represents an important landmark in advancing the capital market and putting Kuwait on the worldwide investment map. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, Borsa Kuwait maintained its connections with partners in the local and international investment community to ensure a successful inclusion process, which wouldn't have been possible without support from the Kuwaiti capital market apparatus and other government agencies. Borsa Kuwait had also implemented a series of measures, such as extending the closing auction and trade at last or TAL sessions, and conducted stress tests to confirm its trading system's capability to absorb the volume of orders and trades during the inclusion. This significant development is a global recognition of Borsa Kuwait's efforts to enhance the market, as well as those of the Capital Markets Authority and the Kuwait Clearing Company in implementing the MSCI's recommendations, including introducing omnibus account structures and same national investor number cross trades ahead of the deadline. With exemplary humanitarian leadership in supporting global humanitarian and relief operations, Kuwait earned itself the UN recognition of being a humanitarian hub. On September the 9th of 2014, the then UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon held a special function at the UN headquarters in New York to express the organization and the international community's appreciation for Kuwait's benevolent approach to human and natural crises and conflicts. Kuwait stood out among other nations for its humanitarian leadership in supporting various relief and aid efforts across the globe. Additionally, the conferences and gatherings organized by Kuwait have played a significant role in establishing its status as a humanitarian center in history. In 2013 and 2014, Kuwait hosted 3 donor conferences for the Syrian people, where $3.6 billion was pledged, of which Kuwait contributed $800 million. Kuwait is dedicated to helping people in need, providing support and humanitarian aid, as well as mobilizing the international community to address humanitarian crises anywhere in the world. As the number of displaced people has increased due to regional conflicts, Kuwait increased its humanitarian actions to address the issue. Kuwait has established itself as a global leader in humanitarian action, with its contributions to international and regional endeavors earning the country regional and international recognition.
And whenever anything happened around the world, Kuwait always the first country or second country that goes there. As I said, we are there whenever anybody wants us, and whenever any disaster happened, we get an appeal from the International Red Cross and Red Crescent, and we are part of them. And also we of course, whenever any country, it depends which country it happened, we are dealing with the Red Cross or Red Crescent in that country. We buy normally from the local market, or we send it by planes, Air Force planes, to this country, and by our volunteers. We are distributing by ourselves. Our volunteers, the ladies and the men here, they go by themselves, and they distribute, of course, the food and the medicine. And as I said, Kuwait, as a humanitarian country, always ask and always go and always be number one there, if not the second day.
As such, the country had hosted 3 donor conferences for the Syrian people since 2013 and has contributed close to $400 million to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. The organization primarily helps with the aid of donations of member states, providing emergency humanitarian aid and protection services to conflict-affected populations in Syria, Yemen, and Iraq. Kuwait's designation as a humanitarian hub in 2014 was well-deserved, as the country has been at the forefront of philanthropic activities and has established itself as a leading regional and international donor in times of need. Moreover, Kuwait co-chaired 2 international donor conferences, helping to raise more than $335 million in aid pledges for conflict-affected populations. Kuwait's commitment to humanitarian efforts has been reflected in its active engagement with UN agencies and its open-handedness in donating to countless relevant agencies and initiatives. The country's efforts to alleviate the suffering of those in crises through its donations, as well as hosting numerous related activities, has made Kuwait a pioneer in humanitarian philanthropy and international humanitarian initiatives since its independence. Kuwait's humanitarian vision has also led it to work towards alleviating the suffering of people in crises affecting multiple countries, as well as increasing its donations in countries affected by natural disasters. In line with this vision, the United Nations, as well as senior international, regional, and local officials, have paid tribute to Kuwait's efforts in international humanitarian action. Since the COVID-19 pandemic and its adverse impact on global commerce and travel, Kuwait has continued to strengthen international ties and its unwavering stance towards the Palestinian cause. In March of 2020, Kuwait provided financial assistance to Iraq and Palestine for their efforts to contain the pandemic. Additionally, Kuwait donated $40 million to the World Health Organization to support its pandemic response and also contributed $4 million to UNICEF's COVID-19 response in Syria through the Kuwait Fund.
Regarding COVID-19, of course, all Kuwait as a country was affected, and like the other countries around the world. Kuwait Red Crescent volunteers, they were running quarantines around the world. We were running several of them. Also, we have help in receiving people from outside Kuwait, and we help Ministry of Health, we help the Ministry of Interior also in controlling the things in Kuwait. We were around everywhere, and we used to, of course, give food and give things to the people who have COVID. I want to conclude this by saying thank God that in Kuwait people they like to help. They like to do everything inside and outside Kuwait, and this is what Kuwait people known for. And we like to thank our donations who are doing them. We like to thank, of course, government, and we want to be more and more in our Independence Day.
The Palestinian cause has been among the top issues concerning the state of Kuwait for a century, and its stances towards the question have often drawn nations and stakeholders' attention. The state of Kuwait's concern for the cause has been manifested anew due to the current events in the Gaza Strip, with statements of support made by the sagacious political leadership, Kuwaitis of various levels and occupations, and the NGOs. Kuwaiti-Palestinian relations have continuously evolved since the 1948 Al-Nakba, as it has repeatedly expressed full support for the rights of the Palestinian people and has condemned the Israeli occupation practices. The following events portray Kuwait's particular concern for the Palestinian cause. On February of 2023, Kuwait expressed condemnation during the Jerusalem conference held in Cairo of all unilateral measures undertaken by the Israeli occupation forces intended to alter the historic status of Jerusalem. Despite the actions of the Israeli occupation army since October the 7th of 2023, support for Gaza and its people remains strong. The state of Kuwait has sent relief planes for Gaza, carrying tons of medical supplies, blankets, and necessities. The urgent assistance to Gaza would continue to help ease the pain of the Palestinians being killed and injured by the ruthless Israeli occupation forces.
Kuwait Red Crescent is established in 1966, and since then until now it's already 58 years. We have helped over 103 countries around the world, and Kuwait Red Crescent is always helping other nations whenever they ask for help. We are helping almost 100 countries, but lately we are concentrating on Gaza Strip after of course, the war that was hit them after Al-Aqsa. And we have worked there the second day after Tawafan Al-Aqsa. We have we bought from the market, local market, by our Palestinian friends there, who are working with us as volunteers. We have distributed for people of Gaza food, medicine, of course for hospitals, equipment, gas, and bread for each house and each family. Also, we have we have signed with the flour factory to distribute things, to distribute bread for families in Gaza. Kuwait Red Crescent is working everywhere, and what is good about our society and about Kuwait itself is that Kuwait is always number one. I mean, whenever anything happened around the world, we are second day or maybe third day that goes there and distribute things by our volunteers, girls and of course men. This is why Kuwait, state of Kuwait, is known as a humanitarian country, because first of all, it goes directly to the country, helping without waiting for any effort or anything, nothing in back. Also, we are, whatever money is putting for this thing, like let's say 100 million for a country, or 50 million or 10 million, all this money is spent directly on the, of course, the situation there or on the things. Kuwait Red Crescent is helping countries, whether these countries are suffering from like earthquakes or floods or dryness or any war happened by countries. We are always there in the first place, like what happened in Beirut after the explosion, what happened in Sudan, what happened in Morocco, Libya, of course, Rohingya, Afghanistan, Yemen, of course, is one of our main things. We are working there, hospitals and schools. And of course, Iraq, we just signed a contract to build a hospital also in Basra. And of course, we signed a contract in Egypt to build a hospital inside Gaza, it's portable hospital. And of course, as you know, Kuwait has sent over 42 planes. It's a bridge that every day we are sending 40 tons of medicine and food and equipment for our people in Gaza.
Kuwait's foreign policy has been marked by moderation, open communication, and humanitarian aid, particularly since its independence. The country has been committed to providing relief to those in need and has made humanitarian work a feature of its diplomatic endeavors. Kuwait's diplomacy, which has been present at the United Nations Security Council for 2 years, has focused on different issues, particularly those related to Arab, Islamic, and humanitarian causes. On January the 1st of 2018, Kuwait began its membership at the Security Council as a non-permanent member, succeeding Egypt to represent Arab countries. Kuwait was the only Arab representative in the UN Security Council during the time, and used its membership to voice the concerns of the Arab region by aligning its efforts with outcomes and resolutions from the GCC, the Arab League, and the Organization of Islamic Countries. Kuwait leveraged its position in the UN Security Council to also address critical issues such as the Syrian crisis, the Palestinian cause, and the situation in Yemen. Kuwait's non-permanent membership on the Council enabled it to distinguish itself diplomatically and present meaningful solutions to complex international issues. During Kuwait's tenure as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, the country tackled significant global challenges, including maintaining international peace and security and improving the Council's working mechanisms. Kuwait was also vocal in presenting several resolutions that address critical global issues and published statements on significant topics affecting Arab and Islamic countries. During its United Nations Security Council presidency in February of 2018, Kuwait held several sessions that discussed 3 main topics: Palestine, Iraq, and the role of the United Nations Charter in maintaining international peace and security. Kuwait also led the UN Security Council in June of 2019, becoming the only non-permanent member to hold the chair 3 times in its history. Moreover, Kuwait seeks to make a significant contribution to maintaining international peace and security through its active participation in the Security Council. Kuwait's diplomatic approach has always prioritized balance and moderation, and it has demonstrated its commitment to upholding the principles of the UN Charter and international law.
I think in the new era, with His Highness the Emir Sheikh Mishal Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah and his speech, we know that he concentrated on many things that shows what we are gonna do in the future. One of these things is the political issue and the security of Kuwait, because he was really focused on that, and he's trying to keep on our political regime and political relations between our neighbors and the Arab and the world, which is, we are known as independent country. We did not interfere in other countries, and also we keep on that we make the joint between countries and trying to solve the problems. Anything that happened, Kuwait is really one of the countries can be a judge to help this kind of conflict, that's happened. And this is what happened during Kuwait and many years ago, that give her more responsibility, especially in the political regime and political interference, because they know we are justice and we're not, trying to mean one another. So we're trying to help for the peace of the world and the region and all our other things.
On the 11th of June 2019, the UN Security Council unanimously adopted a Kuwaiti draft resolution concerning missing persons in armed conflicts. The resolution aims to support and promote frameworks to protect civilians in armed conflicts, and was the first to deal with the matter of missing persons at times of conflict, forming an aspect of the precautions aimed at protecting civilians. This was the first time Kuwait acknowledged the importance of this issue and urged the international community to work towards resolving it from the onset of conflicts. The resolution encourages the international community and UN member states to take action to uncover the fates of missing persons and cooperate with relevant bodies such as the International Committee of the Red Cross. The draft resolution also proposes specific measures such as responding to queries from the families of those missing and taking measures to determine their fate. The adoption of this draft resolution was highly applauded, reflecting the high regard for Kuwaiti diplomacy on the humanitarian level. Kuwait, as the president of the UN Security Council for the month of June, hosted a session on the 13th of June 2019 to discuss the importance of cooperation between the UN and regional organizations in maintaining international peace and security. During the session, Kuwait released a presidential statement emphasizing the responsibility of the UN Security Council to maintain international peace and security according to the UN Charter and other applicable regulations. The statement also noted the need to establish an effective partnership between the UN and regional organizations such as the Arab League. Kuwait, on behalf of the Arab group, called for having a permanent Arab representation with full powers in the Security Council, as a large part of its work and issues on the agenda relate to the Arabic region. Kuwait emphasized the need for real comprehensive reform of the Security Council to make it more capable and effective in facing and overcoming relevant challenges with a more representative, transparent, neutral, and credible framework. Ultimately, Kuwait called for working together to achieve the interests of everyone, including the Arab group, instead of focusing on draft documents that will not create any tangible results or change. Kuwait's mediation efforts played a crucial role in resolving the Gulf differences, which culminated in the signing of the El Ula Declaration at the 41st Gulf Summit in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh. The signing of the El Ula Declaration, as well as the summit's final communique, marked the beginning of a new chapter in pan-Gulf relations and a complete restoration of diplomatic ties between Qatar and Saudi Arabia, the United Emirates, Bahrain, and Egypt. The summit was significant due to its emphasis on the supreme interests of the GCC system and Arab national security. The Gulf leaders were able to overcome their differences and send a message to the world that no matter what the differences are, they can find solutions to steer the region, its states, and its people towards safety. Since gaining its independence in 1961, Kuwait has made tremendous strides towards a comprehensive renaissance with the support of its people and the wise leadership of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mishal Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah. May Allah bless and protect him. This progress is proof of the people's ability to preserve their identity and rally towards their leadership, as everyone strives to protect and enshrine the security, pride, sovereignty, and independence of Kuwait. May Allah protect Kuwait, its Emir, and its people, and perpetuate the blessings of security, stability, and prosperity upon it.